YouTube, how you doing? This is Pastor Nate. Prayerfully, this exhortation finds you well this morning. You saw the topic. Yes, right. You saw the topic. God don't count numbers. He make numbers count. Let's get into it. Now, in 2 Kings, the 6th chapter, you'll find where Elisha sent his servant out to kind of scope the city and to see what was going on because they were getting ready to go in battle. And to make a long story short, the servant came back concerned and perplexed, saying, telling Elisha or Elisha, okay, I want to make sure it's not Elijah, but Elisha. The servant came back saying, it's more them than with us. The opponent has more. How are we going to defeat them? How are we going to win the battle? Well, Elijah's response was, or Elisha's response was, he prayed, Lord, open the servant's eyes that he may see. Because the servant was trying to look through his natural eyes. And friend, whenever you look through your natural eyes, in most cases, you'll always see defeat, right? Because the numbers aren't going to be there. It's just going to look crazy. So you have to look through the eyes of the Spirit. You have to see with your spiritual eyes. And if you see with your spiritual eyes, then you'll see the Lord, right? You remember when they threw the Hebrew boys in the fire furnace and they looked down there was a fourth person in the fire? Yeah. Somebody was looking with some spiritual eyes. And God will be with you. If you see through the eyes of your spirit, then you'll know that great is He. Come on, y'all. Who is in me than he that is in the world. When you look through the eyes, through your spiritual eyes, you'll know that we are more than a conqueror. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. When you see through your spiritual eyes, you'll know that when Jesus is on our side, when he is for us, he's more than the world against us. Friend, I'm the type of person, I don't go with the crowd. I don't go with every wind of doctrine. I don't have to get into hype. In many cases, people have gotten frustrated with me because I've gone against the grain. Yes, that's right. Pastor Nate just doesn't go with everybody. He's not a people pleaser. He just doesn't go with the crowd, and he's not influenced by everybody. Some people say, well, everybody's doing it. Well, that doesn't make it right because everybody's doing it. I endeavor, and I pray that you do too, friend. I endeavor to walk in integrity. I endeavor to walk in a way where God is pleased. And sometimes that means walking alone. Yes, my friend. Sometimes you just may have to walk alone. But remember, in actuality, you are not alone because he's with you. He said he'll never leave you nor forsake you. He'll be with you even until the end of the world. Now, you're not the only one. God does have a remnant out there. There's somebody out there who's just not going to fall for anything. There's somebody out there that's going to stand for God. So there is a remnant. And sometimes God may allow you to surround yourself around those people, and it's very few. A remnant is very few. I don't know, 4 or 5, or you may have people in your life, out of all the people, all the acquaintances, you may have 2 or 3 people that you can really trust. You may have 2 or 3 people who are really walking in integrity. You may have just a very few people in your life who can really pray instead of gossiping when things are going wrong. You see what I'm saying? So God does have a remnant, and when you run into those people, just really thank God for them. Yes, and cherish those relationships, because a lot of people, it's just weird nowadays. So I'm just looking at my notes here. Even with church, and we're going to refer back to the topic, God don't count numbers, but he makes numbers count. I'm from a small town in Florida, a little country town where our churches, they weren't full. A lot of people, they don't like going to church, or they'll get discouraged if the numbers aren't there. But I remember a time when there was like 6 or 7 people in churches on a consistent basis. But you know what? God showed up and he showed out. There was deliverance, there was healing. God moved, God spoke. And sometimes you have these churches filled up, and then God doesn't even move like that. I'm not saying that it's wrong to have a church full of people. Yes, we want our churches to grow, right? But we also want the Spirit of the Lord there too. So yeah, and the scripture said, don't despise small beginnings. I came from small beginnings where it weren't that many, but you know what? I gave it my best. And that's the thing. Whatever God has called you to do, even if the numbers are not there, you give it your best. Don't compromise quality, right? Because if you're faithful, my God, if you're faithful over few things, he'll make you ruler over many. Let me tell you something, my friend. This is my YouTube channel, and I just started a couple months ago. And some people grow faster. The numbers aren't quite there yet, but I'm thankful that you are coming in, and I am going to give it my best on my channel at this stage, right? Because every week, 2 or 3 people will respond and say that bless me. And if it's one person, my job was worth it. If it's one person that was blessed, then I did my job. I'm encouraged, right? Yeah, I don't have the 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 subscribers right now. That'll happen eventually, but I'm being faithful over what I have right now, and I'm going to give you the best that I know how. Right? I'm constantly finding new ways to upgrade the channel with the videos, editing and stuff like that, adding in little intros and outros, I believe, outros rather, and just trying to polish up the channel a little bit. As I go along, you learn new things, right? That's quality. I'm not just coming along putting stuff together. And these little exhortation, these words of encouragement and enlightenment, y'all, I just don't come and put this together. I have to lay in the face of God and pray, and then write down notes and hear what God is saying, and come up with scriptures that relate to what I'm talking about. Yes, these uploads every morning, I just don't throw these together. I think about them in the car while I'm driving along. Lord, what can I say? What do you want the people to hear? As I'm laying down in the bed, I'll get up and jot something down, and then I'll finish it later on and put it together when I get up, or record it on the phone when God speaks to me, so I can bring you a word right now for your life, so I can bring a rhema word. And I pray that this word is encouraging. I pray that this word is helping. So, and that's my attitude. Whatever I find my hands to do, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, whether it's 5 people, whether it's 500, whether it's 5,000, because I have a passion for what I do, and this is what God has called me to do, and I'm going to give it my best. Y'all, let me tell you, I have the best times in my house sometimes by myself. My mirror is the most anointed item in my house, because I stay in it all the time, preaching to the mirror, singing to the mirror, having a whole church service in the mirror with something in my hand like a microphone, like I'm preaching to it. Yes, so it ain't no thing for me to have church by myself. And Lord, my God, if I get 2 or 3, it's on and popping, because I love God. God don't count numbers. He makes numbers count. He makes the numbers count. He makes the difference in your finances. Your finances may not add up all the time. You're scratching your head trying to make the numbers add up and trying to cover all your bills or what have you. Hitting that calculator, punching this and that. Y'all know how you do it when you get paid, trying to cover all them bills and trying to buy food and gas and everything else too. Those numbers just don't add up, right? But you have to turn it over, give God his and say, Lord, I'm just going to trust you with the rest. And y'all know when you turn it over in the master's hand and put it in his hand, he'll multiply it. Somehow you'll find yourself covering everything that you need to cover. God provided. Yes, that's right. Again, God don't count those numbers, but he makes numbers count. He can take a little bit and multiply. And I've seen God do that on many occasions. Going back to the church again, my friend, even as a praise and worship leader down through the years, there are a couple of occasions where I had maybe 20 or 25 people to choir, And sometimes when you have all those people, you have to deal with so many different spirits, right? And this person want to tell you, no, this is how the song go. Nah, that's the wrong key, or that's too high and that's too low. When you've studied all week as the musician or as the worship leader, when you've studied the music, you studied the song, and you know how it's supposed to go, so you can teach it to other people. Then you got 4 or 5 people trying to tell you how to run your rehearsal. And I just didn't get no joy out of that. But you know what? The Lord has allowed me to be in situations now where I'm dealing with an ensemble. Yes, that ensemble, that intimate worship team, which is 5 or 6 at the most, right? Really only need 3 if they can cover their parts. But we have 4 or 5 people on a praise team, on a worship team, and an ensemble. And we work with that group, and we pull out those voices, and they come together on one accord, and it sounds like it's just a host of angels they're singing, because of the quality, because I don't have to deal with all the different spirits and people trying to tell me. So you see, sometimes God can take the small numbers and make it sound like it's a whole lot. Yes, my friend, God can make it sound like it's a lot. So I just want to encourage you this morning. Prayerfully, again, this exhortation will encourage you. And just remember, friend, be at peace and not in pieces. And don't look at them numbers. Keep your eyes on God, because he'll make the difference. Peace.